Inchi, how are you doing? How is your day? I hope you're doing well. Now, last week, our able MP, the MP for Kiharu Constituency, Mr. Ndindi Nyoro, held a meeting with parents and students, the bursary meeting and so on. He was launching a new program called Masomo Bora program, and the guy didn't hesitate to take a swipe at the government. Let's listen to what he had to say about this government and how it's diminishing education.
And I want to say this for avoidance of any doubt. Mimi kama Ndindi Nyoro nimejitolea ya kwamba sasa bunge, mnajua hakuna bunge katika nchi ya Kenya, hakuna opposition. Hakuna mtu anaongea maneno ile inaguza wananchi hapa chini. Na tuliwaambia wasiongeza school fees, wakafikiria ni mchezo wao wenyewe, waliondoa hiyo circular kwa sababu tungefanya maneno. And I also want to tell them here in this bright day that the money you sent to our learning institutions, 26 billion, they already had debts of over 22.5 billion Kenya shillings. And therefore the money for first term is only 3.5 billion Kenya shillings. If you divide per learner, it is only 109 shillings. If the minister thinks my mathematics is wrong, akuje na calculator mbele ya wazazi, tufanye na yeye hiyo hesabu. Na watu waacha kuchezea elimu tafadhali. Hata watu wa serikali mkicheza na siasa, tafadhali tusiete siasa katika maneno ya elimu. And we are not going to allow anyone achezee masomo bila malipo ambayo ililetwa na President Mwai Kibaki.
And he didn't hesitate to take the lap of victory of saying that the government had to produce the circular after he threatened to go with the parents on the streets. Yes, and it's good to have such leaders. Now, he launched, also in the same meeting, he launched his Masomo Bora program for Kiharu Constituency. Yes, we know that constituency has been having a very good progress on matters education. He's been working 24/7 on the infrastructure, and he's been even saying that there's no single classroom that has no time while at it. At the same time, there are those northeastern classes where they don't even have the classes there itself. They have to learn under the trees. So this is the reason why Gachagua was saying everybody to study at his home. Kila mtu asome kwao. And that one stirred a lot of reactions. It was very controversial because some leaders that we have today know that if that were to happen, my friend, there will be a big trouble. Anyway, now there are a lot of things about that his Masomo Bora program, and one of the major things that shook the news headlines was the reducing fee for day secondary schools up to 500 shillings. Said that every student will only have to pay 500 shillings every term. Let's listen to it before I come back and we continue.
Fithi otamu woko Kiharu mwaka wa 2026 ndio wa Kiharu Masomo Bora egokorwo iri shiringi 500. Jokere, wacha niseme kwa Kiswahili ya kwamba hapa Kiharu, kwa Kiharu Masomo Bora ya 2026 ambayo inakava shule zetu zote za day secondary schools, which is covering grade 10 and form 3 and form 4. The school fees in Kiharu in the year 2026 in our day secondary schools per term, it will be 500 shillings.
ukisikia vitu kama hizi saa ingine huo unakaa chini una wonder what kind of leaders did your people from your constituency choose, man. Yeah, they are leaders and they are politicians, and Ndindi Nyoro is leaders now. He is not a politician, and he has proven that. Now look at that Masomo Bora program. It is a very great thing. If only leaders could be doing just a percentage of this, Kenya could have been Singapore. That Singapore that they've been singing around could be halfway there. So when we want to use this Masomo Bora program to analyze and see, okay, is Ndindi Nyoro the next person who will take Kenya to higher heights? Is he the next Kibaki that we are lacking? And it seems so. So, because this Kiharu's education model looks like presidential material. Kenyan politics suffers from one chronic disease: big talk, small delivery. Ndindi Nyoro flips that formula. What he has done in Kiharu constituency is not charity, not token politics, and not roadside handouts. It is systems building. And systems are what? Systems are what presidents are supposed to build. Yes, systems, working systems. If it is about corruption eradication, you have to make sure that all the corruption is rooted out. So, this is not CDF, this is policy thinking. Because every MP has the same CDF, but we can't see the same developments and the same policies in their constituencies. So you can't claim that it is just a normal CDF. This is a policy thinking. Most MPs use NG-CDF like a village fundraiser. A classroom here, a bursary there, a press release everywhere. Ndindi Nyoro uses CDF like a Treasury technocrat. Look at the structure. Fees reduced to 500 per term. Lunch program institutionalized. Infrastructure funding planned over years. Incentives for teachers and principals. Uniforms, buses, remedial programs. No hidden levies. That is not ad hoc spending. That is policy design. A president does not think in events. A president thinks in systems. Ndindi Nyoro understands the cost of living crisis better than most CSs. Lowering school fees is not an education issue only. It is a household income intervention, a poverty reduction strategy, a crime prevention policy, a productivity investment. When parents don't panic about school fees, children stay in school, families stabilize, teachers focus on teaching, communities calm down. That's macroeconomic thinking applied locally. Many cabinet secretaries speak about cost of living. Ndindi Nyoro absorbs it. So he is even going further to incentivizing teachers. That is a presidential instinct. Kenya's biggest governance problem is demoralized public servants. Ndindi Nyoro does something radical. He rewards performance, he recognizes effort, he motivates excellence. Trips, recognition, support, not as bribes, but as institutional morale building. Presidents succeed or fail based on whether civil servants feel valued or abandoned. Ndindi seems to understand that people drive systems, not speeches. So, he is also bringing the fact of equity without populism. Notice something important. The program covers all learners, includes non-Kiharu natives, does not discriminate, does not personalize credit. That's rare in Kenyan politics. Most leaders design programs to reward supporters, punish opponents, build cult loyalty. Ndindi's model is citizenship-based, not tribal-based. That is presidential temperament. Then there's discipline and financial prudence. Read carefully. There are no extra levies, no random charges, no financial ambushes. This means budget discipline, planning, accountability. Kenya doesn't lack money, it lacks financial discipline. A leader who can stretch limited CDF funds into a full education education, ecosystem, understand fiscal management, the hardest job of any president. That is how first world countries think. Let's be blunt. What Ndindi is doing in Kiharu resembles Scandinavian welfare logic, East Asian human capital investment, Singapore-style education prioritization, and the Asian giants. First world countries did not get rich first, then educate their people. They educated first, then got rich. Ndindi's model aligns with that logic. So, how can this thing be transformed from constituency to country? The scalability test. The biggest question, can this scale nationally? The answer is uncomfortable for many politicians. Yes, if corruption is cut. If Kenya reduced wastage, eliminated duplication, redirected funds, and prioritized education, this model is replicable. What Ndindi proves is that Kenya is poor, but that Kenya is mismanaged. Yeah? Kenya is not poor, but it is just mismanaged. So why does this make him presidential material? A good president must think long term. One, by educating the future leaders and future citizens. Build institutions, prioritize people, manage resources, ignore cheap populism. Ndindi Nyoro ticks those boxes at a micro level. Presidents are not born in rallies, they are tested in delivery. Kenya often promotes loud leaders, charismatic talkers, ethnic mobilizers, but real development comes from quiet planners, numbers people, policy minds. Ndindi Nyoro does not shout, he builds, and that is why some fear him. If Kenya ever decided to elect a president based on evidence, systems, results, human capital investment, then Ndindi Nyoro's Kiharu education model will be Exhibit A. He may not yet be a perfect president, but he is doing something rare in Kenyan politics, governing before campaigning. And if more leaders did half of what Ndindi is doing in Kiharu, Kenya wouldn't be dreaming of becoming first world. We would already be on the way there. So, that's all I had for today. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Until next time, bye.